What's happening, baby? Hey, the pole meister's already here. Dude, you're hot off of the. You're right on the poles. He's in the pole position, baby. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Beautiful Wednesday morning. What's happening out there in outraged land, everybody? We got lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk about my trip to Eddie Murphy's house today in Beverly Hills. What's up, Kashaba? That's not fake news. I was on the premises of Mr. Eddie Murphy, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Might get into, I've been, trying to dig deeper in my comedy material and really look for where all the shit I think about comes from. And, I grew up, a really high IQ kid in a kind of hillbilly / redneck culture there in Oklahoma. And so, I might talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the Russia investigation seemingly coming to a close with, drum roll, no evidence. And, the shocked leftist faces on TV. It can't be true. Our politics on Reddit is just, spazzing out, smacking their keyboards. What's up, Mervin the Merlin? That's a goddamn tongue twister of a name, brother. I don't even know what Discord is. What's up, Dirt Wee? Good to have you on board. On board the battleship of freedom here. Cruising pirate style. I need to get me a damn eye patch, dude, because we're out here, digging for treasures. Digging for treasured principles. And don't worry about the rise of socialism, Polmeister. We're here, all right? It's a fucking straight white male with a backbone, all right? And that's what prevents socialism. That's what prevents social decay is white men with strong beards and strong convictions, all right? And principles that do not break, all right? You can hit me with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and it's going to hold firm, baby. Just like that wall that should be getting built. There's all these rumors swirling that a budget deal has been agreed to, and we seem to be getting shortchanged on the wall. But that seems like some premature news there. I don't know the validity of that situation. We're gonna have to wait and see. But Trump has been, he's been, big dicking with the tweets there, and already getting into braggadocio mode. So I'm thinking it may be a little more than people expect. But goddamn it, I want a big fucking thick ass concrete wall, dude. I want a wall as thick as Oprah. All right, I want a wall as thick as Michael Moore and Oprah, and a Michael Moore Oprah sandwich. All right, with barbed wire in the middle. A Michael Moore Oprah barbed wire sandwich. That's what I want at the border. And God damn it, that's what we deserve, all right? Because we got to cut off the flow of the Democratic voting base there. And, the unfortunately low IQ populations that have been migrating in and lowering the standard there and sucking off the old welfare teat. The old welfare teat has run dry, all right? It's all powdered milk at this point, and there's no more room on the teat. It's been sucked dry, ladies and gentlemen. I want a bullet train on the top of the wall, says AJ. That's tremendous, I want Donald Trump figurine robots with laser eye vision. And it says, every time it identifies a target, it's "you're fired," and just takes them out, baby. Who needs the ICE patrol? We don't need border patrol. Everything's getting automated nowadays. We should automate the border patrol and have the Trump robots up on top of the wall. You're fired. That's what we're looking for, baby. Oh, dude, the wall is so important. Trump robots and all, baby. Let's share out this stream on the Facebook here. Oh, I already got one dislike. Ooh, he's controversial. Uh-oh. Controversy on the late night stream here. We be getting a few trolls that come in and hit the dislikes. We got to outnumber them. We got to, get on the pirate ship, put on our eye patches, and hit that like button, baby, like it's, Pirates of the Caribbean, all right? We're carrying around machetes. We got, long freedom dreads. It's not cultural appropriation because, God damn it, we choose to take the good things from other cultures and do them as we see fit, ladies and gentlemen. I don't myself fancy any dreadlocks. It probably was a Russian bot. I don't know. The Russians love me because I sound just like them. I can impersonate Russian, and actually, to be honest, this is my real voice, and voice I normally talk in is my undercover persona of Nick Jordan, comedian in Hollywood, right? You all think he's comedian in Hollywood. Really, I am a Russian defector hiding out in Hollywood, and I is the one who hack election. I hack election, I get Donald Trump in power, and if you want, you can go through and look at video on my channel and see how Russians hacked election, all right? And we are often confused with vampire, and this is fake news. I don't care if Vlad the Impaler had similar name to me. Vladimir Putin is who we pray to, and this is why the Russians, they love me, because I'm doing the will of Putin. Okay, we achieving freedom for America, and this is what Russia wants, apparently. So, American patriots, back me up on my quest for freedom in America. It shall be achieved. Yeah, baby, we live now. Shared it out on the Facebook. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, all right, let's get into the Eddie Murphy story here. I got a Postmates order today for a little lady named Zola Murphy, and it was going to Beverly Park, which is an extremely luxurious gated community in Beverly Hills. And I saw that last name Murphy, and I saw where it was going. And I was like, let me just Google this just to make sure. Eddie Murphy's daughter, Zola. And so I was like, holy shit, I'm going to fucking Eddie's house. And goddamn if it wasn't a castle. It was a goddamn fortress. It was a sight to behold, dude. And man, I really wanted to see Eddie open that door. I really just... I mean, I know Eddie probably ain't the type to open his own doors, but goddamn, I mean, just imagine that. Oh, thank you, son. Welcome to my humble abode. Yes, I appreciate you getting me the fish salad for the my daughters there. And before you go, young man, you look like you got some kind of twinkle in your eye. What do you do? I'm like, well, I'm a comedian and screenwriter. Screenwriter? You got any scripts for me? Eddie, because I wrote an entire blaxploitation comedy script specifically with the idea of having Eddie Murphy in the lead role, about a black dude with a giant dick who finds $10 million and gets into the porn industry while the DEA and the drug cartels are after him and after that money. And it's called Panther Tail. And I want Eddie to play it, but I didn't want to be that awkward motherfucker who's like, well, I know you just want to close the door right now, but I do have a script for your dad. And, but she answered the door, just, lovely young lady. And, I didn't have the heart to say anything, bro. I should have been like, I got a script, but probably would have been like, security, get him out of here. But it was just my fantasy that Eddie would be like, come on in, young buck. Let's talk about getting this script made. Let's do it up. God damn it. Oh, it's my one chance out here when I was at Eddie Murphy's front door, and I blew it, ladies and gentlemen. It's all right. I'm sending emails around to everybody. We're gonna get that goddamn script made, ladies and gentlemen. The sketch in front where he's in the tub with a G.I. Joe up his ass. Did I smell the heroin? It was a nice family house, you know, big castle in his kingdom, and you know, just call me the Beverly Hillbilly. That's where I'm gonna end up, bruh. All right, I started it from humble beginnings in trailer parks in Oklahoma. I'm gonna end up, you know, right next to Eddie. He was, you know, Beverly Park, baby. That's where you need to be, and so. I'm gonna be hillbillying in Beverly Hills, ladies and gentlemen. That's what, you know. If I ever get into you know, a cooperative situation with these Jews out here, I'm just trying to do some cocaine and work with these wonderful Jewish people out here and do some business deals and write some scripts and get some shit made, ladies and gentlemen. You know. I just don't want to have to go through any Harvey Weinstein hoops. You know, I don't want to have to watch anybody jerk off into any plants. You know, we're going to do it all legitimate here, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to get undeniable here at Outrage TV. We're going to get so big they can't deny it. And they just got to put me up on stage at the Comedy Store, and I'm going to rock their motherfucking socks out the box, dude. And that's what it's going to be. One of the dudes at the comedy club I go to all the time, the Fourth Wall, he gave me a little email address to shoot to some dude at the Comedy Store, so I emailed him, and we've been talking about, you know, getting a spot up at the Comedy Store. You should have never gave me niggas money. Yeah, don't give me money, bruh. I'll go wild out here. I'll start wearing goddamn cheetah suits. I'm gonna have a jumpsuit like Eddie, but it's gonna be, you know, all cheetah fur, you know, with dragon wings on the back and shit, blowing vapes like Dragon Energy, baby. They ain't ready for it. People don't know how to spend their money out here, man. I put most of it in Bitcoin, just for some safety net for the economic collapse there. And what up, Crusader? Delirious first time on vinyl back in the day. Yeah, I mean, that was before my time, but you know, I went back and watched it, and you know, a lot of it holds up. He would have been considered an alt-right Nazi if he did that routine today, and it's a goddamn shame because it's still hilarious, where he's, you know, castigating the fags for looking at his ass in the audience and shit. Raw is just fucking incredible, man. That bit about him seeing Johnny Carson getting divorced on the you know, the National Enquirer in the grocery store, and him thinking like, you know, I gotta find me a bush bitch named Fum. They don't even know nothing about money, and then her slowly getting corrupted by the half. Yeah, dude. So fucking monstrous. That's the perfect example of a really good piece of comedy, where you take something that's a phenomenon that's going out in the public culture and then connect it to something that's going on in your own life, because he was debating getting married and deciding whether or not to do it or get a prenup. And what up, Scuba Steve? You saw Raw at the movie theater. That must have been a hell of an experience right there, dude. Yeah, he definitely went, you know, once he got caught with the tranny, he was too embarrassed to go on stage and talk about that shit, because that was in the back of everybody's mind. And that's the main reason I think he quit stand-up comedy, is because it's such a stigma in the black community to front like you're this, you know, heterosexual powerhouse, like, you know, pussy crusher, and, you know, you're viewed that way in the black community, and then you get caught with a tranny and you got to explain that shit. Like, if he would have, and I mean, you look back and with hindsight, you know, he had the whole lisp and he could do the voices of the females so well. It was obvious that he was like in the territory of like leaning towards being bisexual. And he was such good friends with Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor was obviously bisexual. He was fucking and sucking with Marlon Brando and everybody in Hollywood. And so, you know, he should have just came out and admitted it, and that would have been another all-time legendary great special. But, you know, I bet he just looked at it like, you know, he didn't want to address it on stage. He didn't want his career to take that turn. And so he instead just left those two specials out for all-time greatness, the Delirious and Raw. And essentially his hyper masculine stage character that would be cemented into history, and he wouldn't have to address all the weird shit that went on in his personal life and really get honest with it, which is kind of a shame, because then, you know, his movies just slowly lost all their quality, and he kind of just like relaxed into some easy like family movie bullshit scripts, and, you know, still hasn't done stand up all these years later. He's supposedly filming all these you know, movies right now, and I got pissed off because I wrote that blaxploitation comedy with him in the lead, and I got a couple manager meetings out of it and shit, and it was getting some attention. And meanwhile, Eddie was already filming a blaxploitation movie. He's filming. I think they're supposedly filming Dolomite right now, the remake of Dolomite, and Eddie Murphy's gonna be Dolomite. So like I was right on that pulse of Eddie's comeback into big hilarious action comedy movies and the whole blaxploitation angle. And man, I guarantee that movie would destroy box offices, dude. If you saw Eddie Murphy in a cheetah print jumpsuit and the white leopard jumpsuit with the fucking cowboy hat and shit, and you know, you had the big panther tail, dude, and it's called Panther Tail, and you see that on a billboard, dude, you'd be in that theater, boy. Everybody in LA would be in that goddamn theater, man. But, you know, it's hard to sell Hollywood on any sex-based script right now because they're so scared of all the blowback from the Me Too movement. And so anything that's explicitly sexual in its premise is like really touchy right now. And so just bad timing, man. It fucking sucks. You know, I got a couple manager meetings with that shit. You know, the first manager meeting I showed up and he was like, you know, I had talked to him a little bit on the phone and he had read, you know, pieces of my script and whatnot. And I showed up for the Panther Tail meeting and he was like, hey, you're Nick? I really expected you to be black. And that's the first thing that got the manager meeting kicked off. So it was this weird energy in the room the whole time. Like, he's not part of the diversity quota. We wanted to, you know, help out somebody's community, but not necessarily your community. Yeah, Hollywood needs some turnover, and I think it's going to happen because, you know, they got to, the public perception is slowly realizing how fucked up the left wing is and how fucked up their policies are, and especially with this whole abortion thing, the middle of the country is just fucking done with Hollywood. Like, they need a reformation, a truth-based reformation. And that's why I'm out here, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm not convinced Hollywood is dead, all right? I'm trying to resuscitate this motherfucker and give it CPR. And I'm like, God damn it, I love movies. I love cinema. I love all of that shit. I love real, raw, stand-up comedy that's unfiltered and you know, politically incorrect. And God damn it, that's what this town fucking needs to make a comeback and make amends to the middle of the country. We got to have some raw shit up on the big screen that's truthful. And, you know, because the whole thing with Panther Tail, it's a big silly action comedy movie, but it's really underneath it all, it's a commentary on the welfare system and how destructive it is when you just give poor people a bunch of money. When you just dump money on a poor community, it doesn't necessarily help them out because they don't have the mindset that goes along with earning that money. So then you just end up seeing a bunch of money being invested and the incentives are all backwards when you give it to them. Then they didn't earn it themselves, so they don't value the money. And, you know, you get a single motherhood and gang banging and all this crime and shit. Yeah, George Carlin back. Carlin was good at, you know, yeah, he would have succeeded in any era, but he really, you know, he really pushed back against the right-wing Christian power structure of his time and went along with the hippie movement. And I don't know how I don't think he was that well versed in economics, because he always kind of demonized capitalism and and free markets and whatnot. And he went along with the hippie movement. I don't think he realized how subversive and communistic and socialistic it really was. It just seemed at the time, when he was making that turn in his career, that they were the intelligent, artsy ones that were making all the good points about being anti-war and pro-drug and pro-drug legalization. And yeah, he's playing to his audience to a degree, but that shift in I don't think he necessarily just morphed with the audience. I think it was a change in his own personal thinking that led to that. Which is, this is why I feel like I'm a little bit ahead of my time out here in Hollywood, because the public is just starting to, see that the media is more divisive than Trump, and just starting to see that, Hillary Clinton really was kind of a fucking demon, and, Bernie Sanders really is a dumb old fuck who combs his hair with a balloon, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez really, really doesn't have any good ideas, and really is just talking out of her ass and pretends like, she didn't put that document out on our website that said we're going to give money to people even if they're unwilling to work, and like we're just going to do away with planes and cars, and we're going to be off all of that shit in a decade. And oh, that was an accident, that wasn't my thing. Like, people are starting to realize the horseshit, and so after the realization of truth comes the mockery of satire. And it's hard to get people on board with my premises a lot of the times when I do political material on stage, because they don't fundamentally know if they agree yet with my principles. And the people that I'm targeting, it still kind of seems like they don't know exactly where I'm coming from. So once that shared common ground is there, then that opens everything up for jokes. I mean, there's ways to do it, and I'm steadily figuring it out. I've gotten laughs on stage with a lot of crazy shit. I mean, you just got to have a way, like that Eddie Murphy bit I was talking about with Johnny Carson, and relating it to his own life. You got to have a way of doing that. Like, I have this bit on stage where I talk about, it's a dumb idea that people think we're all equal, because I'm obviously an individualist. I recognize we're all individuals with different upbringings and genetics, and there's a whole soup of different things that goes into it. And so I don't agree with the people that look at society in through a collectivist lens of like, oh, we're all in these differing groups, and it's groupthink based on what demographics think. It all comes down to that leftist mentality of egalitarianism, which is, fine in a law context, but in reality, it's just not true. Oh, we're all the same. When it comes down to it, fundamentally, we're all the same. And it's just not true. People who, and I say this on stage, people who believe that usually haven't played sports and kept score. All right? Because my high school basketball team was the hardest working team in the nation, but when it came down to going out of town and playing one of them urban areas, all right, we knew deep down none of that hard working bullshit was going to matter. All right, we'd show up, thinking we knew all our plays, we've been listening to our coach, we're ready to go, and we show up and the other team doesn't even have a coach, bro. We're like, what? They're just rolling dice and rolling blunts on the sideline and shit. We're like, what the fuck is this? And I go into this whole thing on stage, but it just has to be like connecting what's happening in society with what's going on in your own life. And that's where the comedy hits. And then you just hammer it, hammer it, hammer it. I've definitely been heckled. Funny story. Yeah, they didn't have a coach. They had the guy from the And One mixtape tour. While I'm standing there getting crossed up, he's saying, "Oh baby, sizzle," and our whole team's getting dunked on. Get your jersey off, What did you say? Oh, have I been heckled? Absolutely, I've been heckled. Funny story. One time I was doing this bit on diversity, right? Of how stupid this idea of diversity is. Like, we have a diversified workforce. No, you kind of just have a limit on your white dudes. And I was going into this whole thing. And then like the bigotry of low expectations where we're like, oh, the black people and the minorities can't do it on their own. We're going to give them a helping hand. And like this condescending, pat them on the head, you know, liberal bigotry of low expectations horse shit. And so I was doing this bit. And of course, it wasn't a black person that got offended. It wasn't a Mexican guy that got offended. You know, it was a white guy who probably hates himself. He stood up and yelled at me that I was a mouthpiece for the KKK in the middle of my set, dude. And I was just like, what the fuck? And so then I looked over to my black girlfriend that I came to the mic with. And I was like, baby, we should probably get the fuck out of here. This has gotten insane. And, you know, I say on stage for the joke, like, you know, baby, he doesn't understand our relationship. You know, he doesn't know how hard it is for me to convince a black girl to join the KKK with me. What does he know? You know, he's full of shit. I told you, you don't even have to go to the meetings, all right? I told all the guys you're one of the good ones. But it's just like so retarded that people like, you know, have these ideas in their head that's like, ooh, the KKK is looming around every corner and there's Nazis out there. No, just look in the mainstream media. There's the biggest racism problem in the country. Like saying that the Covington Catholic schoolboys are racist for standing there and getting a drum beat in their face. Like, oh my God, how dare they? Those little racist Nazis. The biggest racism in society is currently against white people. And everybody makes this argument of like, oh, the police are racist toward black people, and they always profile black people. And they never bring up the side of the argument that says, oh, well, you know, black males, 2 to 3% of the population between, you know, 18 and 40 commit 50% of the homicides in the country. And so it's like, if you're just going based on a statistical you know, plan there, it might behoove you to profile a little bit. What's up, Burgess? Yeah, I thought the KKK was like 10 dudes in a trailer park in Tennessee. I'm supposedly from, you know, the mecca of white racism, which Oklahoma was right in the middle of the country. What up, Steven Johnson? And I'm supposedly, you know, from the racist mecca, Oklahoma, right in the middle of the country. And I've only met one white supremacist in my entire life. He was in Burbank, California, sitting on a curb outside of a Starbucks, all right, drinking a Mike's Hard Lemonade with a sunburnt ass, shaved head. And he saw me come out of the Starbucks for a vape. And he saw my baby blues. And he was like, hey, brother. Oh, you like what Trump's been doing for us, brother? I was like, dude. Trump, first of all, Trump is not white. He's orange. I didn't vote for Trump because he's a formerly white, now orange man, okay? It's because I want a wall, all right? And I don't want the Democrats to be winning elections and growing the size of government and collapsing the economy there. That was more my side. That was more my reasoning, not the whole skin color thing. But nice try, you fucking weirdo. Enjoy your... The point is, he didn't have a whole lot of power. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't in Trump's cabinet, as the left claims that, you know, there's just all this... He's dog whistling to his white supremacist supporters and like, oh, Charlottesville, where there were 10 dudes with tiki torches, and it really shows a huge problem in society. And it's like... Nonsense. They've got to have the problem, reaction, solution. It's the same thing the government does on an even larger scale when we demonize other countries and say we got to go to war with them. You know, they're creating figments of their own imagination to fight because they don't have any actual arguments or principles or direction for where they want the country to go. So they just got to be like, we're against that thing. You know, the racist white guys. They just got their tiki torches there. They just don't want any mosquitoes around them, bruh. What's so threatening about, having a mosquito-free zone, all right? They had a permit to protest, and they were just standing out there hanging out with no mosquitoes, all right? Weren't hurting anybody, and then Antifa showed up and stirred the fucking hornet's nest up. Crusader says Beto O'Rourke's town, he got 200. Trump got 35,000 and more outside the venue. Yeah, Beto's a fucking joke. Beto's a fucking joke. Dirtweed grew up near the Outlaws biker gang house. Dude been white dude, very helpful. Interesting story, sir. Yeah. Beto is beta. Beto. That's it's pretty accurate. He's got the most testosterone of any of the Democratic candidates, which is not saying a lot. A lot of them, never done a squat in their life. Joe Biden, the only time he does squats is to squat down and squeeze young girls' shoulders and, nestle up against their face all weird and shit. That's the only leg workout Joe Biden gets. Hillary Clinton's leg workout, she gets it from picking herself up off the ground after she tumbles out of airplanes or passes out at the 9/11 memorial. And, she didn't have the opportunity to exercise her leg strength then because the Secret Service just picked her up and chucked her in the van like a side of beef. But, she's trying, okay? I love how everything with Trump, too, with his competitiveness with the supposed alpha males the Democrats are trying to roll out, like, everything's a dick joke. Like, his rally was bigger than Beto's rally. And, the whole thing with Kim Jong-un, my nuclear button is bigger than your nuclear button. I mean, that's that God Emperor President, bro. That's that dragon energy. When you send a dick joke and a nuclear war threat in the same tweet, bruh, oh, man. That's that dragon energy, son. Oh, dude, that's that diplomacy. That's that big dick diplomacy, baby. All right? And, Kim Jong knew what the fuck was up, all right? He's like, we make peace deal now. We make peace deal. Okay, nuclear button is bigger. Okay, we understand. We don't want any trouble from the big nuclear button. No trouble. What's up, Ricky Cito? The AIPAC has your best interests at heart, Americans. Is that the Israel coalition thing? I don't have any problem with the existence of Israel, but they need to defend their own goddamn borders. They already got a fucking wall. They don't need us to defend them. I don't think. I mean, we should prioritize our own national defense over Israel, and that's not happening right now. And Ben Shapiro calls that anti-Semitic. We have an actual Islamist in our government on the Democrat side. It's like, dude, we got our own fucking problems. We shouldn't be, trying to protect Israel from Islam while we have a literal Islamist, hijab-wearing psycho in our own Congress. This is the vape flavor right here, called Kendo Man. Yeah, I was going to skip that Joe Rogan episode. I don't know who Andrew Yang is, but, Rogan, I don't know. I like the podcast with Tim Pool. That's the last one I listened to, but, I got other shit to listen to. I always listen to Owen Benjamin streams. I listen to Nick DiPaolo. But I do check in on Rogan because he's a good pulse of the mainstream perspective on shit. And he's a good, it's good for coming up with jokes because I can get a feel for what the general population is thinking and the general ideas that are out there in public that are being discussed. And so that's a good starting point for jokes, is like what everybody else is thinking and how I differ from it. Did Joey Coco pass out on the podcast? That was, that's been a long time coming. That guy, duh, he goes hard in the paint with the goddamn weed. Yeah, man, I've met Joey Diaz a good amount of times. I've done stand up with him and in front of him and shit. He comes out here to the Fourth Wall Comedy Club where I do sets and shit. And me and him had a good little conversation about, we both used to live out of our cars. I had like a good 3-4 month period where I was living out of my car out here in LA, and I was staying at that Planet Fitness hotel, ladies and gentlemen, taking showers in the gym and getting up and doing Postmates all day and sleeping in the car and shit. And I'd heard him talk about sleeping in his car during the early days of stand-up too on his podcast and shit. And he's cool as a motherfucker. He'll just rap with you. He doesn't care if he's this big comic and you're just an open micer. It was cool as fuck of him, because like he was like trying to get ready for his Netflix special, and so he was going back to his roots and just going and hanging out with open micers and bullshitting and talking about his early days at the Comedy Store, following Paul Mooney and his learning points in stand up. And he really enjoys giving back to the next generation of comics. He's a bad motherfucker, dude. And he ran his material for the Netflix special for us before anybody else saw it. He did it live at the Fourth Wall, and he rocked the fuck out of that room, dude. Joey Coco. But yeah, he gets entirely, I'm surprised it hasn't happened before. He passed out on that podcast, dude. They get so goddamn stoned, it's unbelievable. What's up? We have the president on the stream here, ladies and gentlemen. He's apparently thought I was Mark Dice, but you've come to the right place, God Emperor. I mean, we were just talking about your constant winning and the left's constant being triggered by it, and it's just delectable and delicious. Glad to have you in the stream, Mr. President. Godspeed, and we appreciate everything you're doing. Ricky Cito says white countries aren't worldwide are being destroyed demographically with identity politics. Maybe the best solutions is white identity. No, I think it's just, it's creating your own group that you identify with, not based on immutable characteristics that you were born with and had no choice in. It's not about skin color. It's not about gender. It's about people who get it. It's about, people who are smart enough to see through the propaganda and they don't, fall prey to it. People, it's high IQ people, or it's a little lower IQ people that know philosophical principles that can get them there. But it doesn't have a race identity. It does, because there's a lot of fucking idiot white people that are leftists. Like I was just talking about that dumbass that shouted up and heckled me and saying I was the mouthpiece for the KKK. I mean, a lot of, white people are the biggest problem in America. The leftist white people that hate themselves and project that energy out into hating humanity as a whole and feeling guilty for slavery and, the Native American genocide. And, oh my God, we need diversity quotas to balance this shit out. And no, they're the biggest problem. They're the ones who are helping the Democrats win elections. I mean, if it was just, the minority populations voting for the left and all the whites voting for the right, then the right would win every time. I mean, it's a majority white country. But, the biggest problem are the self-hating, propagandized, dumbed down white people who vote Democrat because they want a virtue signal and impress their minority friends. But meanwhile, they get no respect. Like when I talk to, I'm really good friends with a lot of black people because, when you talk to them, they get it. They get that the white liberals are fake and that, they're more connected to reality than these white liberal neurotic basket case motherfuckers who can't even figure out if they want to keep their dick or not. Like black people know they want to keep their dick. Black dudes want to keep their dick. All right, they're happy with their dick. All right, and those are good friends to have. If your friends are happy with their dick, they're probably going to be pretty solid. But if they hate their own dick, that's trouble. All right, that's one of the main questions I ask my friends. How do you feel about your dick? Do you want to keep it? Are you happy with it? Are you willing to part with it for progressivism? Are you willing to tuck those nuts up for the cause? So you got to have friends that don't hate their own dick and don't hate their own skin color. And that's a good starting point. Exactly, Tom. Welcome to the stream. White liberals see blacks as pawns. Absolutely. And that's the biggest trigger point. That's why that guy stood up and said I was a mouthpiece for the KKK, is because I hit a trigger in his head that he realized was true and he had never thought of before, and he didn't want to admit it, that it's super condescending and it's the bigotry of low expectations when you assume that black people can't accomplish things on their own and they need the white liberals to come in and guide them along the way and help them every step of the way, and affirmative action and the Rooney Rule. We need to interview some black head coaches. It doesn't matter if it's condescending and pointless and insulting to the guy to bring him in just based on his skin color and not based on anything else. Yeah, the Democrats were the party of slavery and the party of the KKK, and there wasn't this fucking party switch propaganda that people like to parade out. Total nonsense. The left just propagandized the blacks enough with bribery to get them to start voting Democrat. That's all that happened. They shifted from direct ownership in slavery to a more indirect ownership through bribation and welfare and giving people free stuff. That's the Democratic plantation that Dinesh D'Souza talks about. And so, you know, black people don't fundamentally, like, you talk to, like I know a lot of black comics out here, and they, you know, you break it down to them and they get it, and they're like they've felt it before, but once they hear it articulated, they're like that, they fucking agree with it, and they're like, you know what, that is fucking true. You're like, you know, I don't need any fucking help. You just get these weirdo fucking control freak creeps out of my way and just let me do my thing. Like, black people, if you let them do their thing, they're gonna be fine. I mean, Denzel Washington and Will Smith exist, all right? They're not fucking helpless. I mean, there's a lot of untapped creativity and productivity in the black community if the left would just get their fucking authoritarian boots off of their neck. But, you know, it's hard to give up that power position once you're in it. Once you're, you know, leading that Democratic plantation, dude, and you got you know, the dumber end of the black population convinced that you're here to help them and protect them from evil whitey. And you have this whole race narrative that the Republicans are the racist ones. And it's hard to break people out of that mind state, dude. But once you break them out of it, they never go back. And we have all the information distributing power right now through the internet. And, you know, once we wake the black people up, it's over for the Democratic Party for the rest of history. Yeah, Kanye, that's what he was saying. People always make fun of his comment, oh, slavery is a choice. What Kanye was really saying is that he wasn't saying that actual slavery back in you know, the 1800s was a choice and they could have chose not to be slaves. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that modern day mental slavery is a choice. The choice to, you know, forego freedom and go with the race narrative of the left and take the free stuff they're offering you. That's the mental slavery. He was talking about the Democratic plantation. The trouble with Kanye is he's just getting a grasp on these ideas and he can't fully articulate it. And so he comes off as kind of crazy and kind of, you know, unhinged because, you know, he partly is, but, you know, he partly is also brilliant. And so he can get it, but he can't fully articulate it yet. I think in the future we're going to see, you know, a lot more good shit coming out of Kanye, and he's a big linchpin in the black community. If he can, you know, push that out there, he's a big influencer. And, you know, if he can get Jay-Z and Beyonce's demon asses out of his ears and just think for himself, and that's what Kanye is good at. So, you know, he's going to figure it out and he's going to articulate it even better. And when that happens, like, seeing him with that Make America Great Again cap on is just so beautiful for the country. People make fun of him for it and shit, but goddamn, that helped a fuck ton when he did that. Like, that's, you know, He came out of the black Republican closet. Not that they need to be Republican or conservative, but just free thinking, just getting off of the the thought bubble of we have to be Democrat because these evil racist white people, and no, Jimmy James, Kanye is not a retard. All right, listen to College Dropout again, and listen to Late Registration again, and listen to Graduation again. Kanye West is a musical genius. And he's very, very intelligent. But he has trouble articulating things that he's articulating his way out of how he's been propagandized. All the black people are propagandized in the society that white people are the biggest problem and their biggest obstacle to having success in society. And it's a huge realization to have that, oh, it's the government that's getting in my way. It's the government that's fucking my community up. It's not white people. White people don't really give a fuck. They'll work with me and they're happy to see me succeed. It's, the people that are playing this race narrative and playing people off against each other. They're the real problem. So it's a big realization to step outside of that propaganda and really figure it out. And I think he's a good ways along that path. And so you got to give him some credit for, breaking out of that line of thinking that's so socially reinforced by, especially everybody in the entertainment industry. It's just so hard leftist, it's the entertainment industry, and being a black man that, that grew up in Chicago, one of the most lefty fucking cities in the country. Like, you got to give him some credit for putting on that goddamn Trump hat, dude. Kay Burgess says, the evil straight white man is holding you down. I'm trying to put people on Mars. Yeah. Paulmeister says, most perceived retardation is just people thinking outside your thinking sphere. Sadiq Ahmed says, in China, government control people, but it's still doing very well. I think that's product of having a really high IQ society and still having some vestiges of capitalism. So they've emulated a lot of what the West has done with capitalism, but they still maintain that communist regime over the population. And so I think that's what's keeping China in the position that they're at, is that they're just really fucking smart. They have really high IQs, and it's generally a very disciplined and industrious country. And so they just get a lot of shit done. They're not necessarily anywhere near as creative as we are here in the West, or innovative, but they can replicate shit and they can build shit really effectively. And Harvard has entirely too many Asians, all right? The leftists are tired of that shit. We need some more blacks in here so we can convince them to, vote for us, and that Whitey is out to get them. We can't convince the Asians that Whitey is out to get them because they're too busy, bashing into their cars in the middle of intersections and, selling us Chinese food and building our shoes. Yeah, they usually just kind of copy the better things about the West, which is like, it's kind of baffling that more countries don't do that. That they don't just like copy and paste the Constitution and like, we can have a lot of prosperity, but a lot of these third world dictators just don't get it. And so they're like, that means less power for me. And why would I want to do that? And they don't see that if you give your tax cattle a little extra room to roam around and be productive and actually choose their own careers, that they're going to be a lot happier and a lot more productive and a lot more creative and innovative. But, that's a long-term kind of high IQ thing to recognize. But, the dictators would rather, yeah, that was pretty cool what the lights just did. Let me get a little more beer here. We're putting on light shows, baby. See, that's the dragon energy, and that's the IQ remnants there, distorting the lights. I'll try to, turn it down a little bit here. Still got one claw left, but I'm on that Sierra Nevada Torpedo. It's a Freedom Torpedo, ladies and gentlemen. That's we're all riding along the Freedom Torpedo, and you know, big brain takes. That's what we're all about, baby. We do it all in one take. We're live in full effect. All right, we got no edits here on the Outrage TV podcast. We got no teleprompters. We just got a can of booze and some principles, ladies and gentlemen. Roommate's not here, so I can get as loud as I motherfucking want. Teleprompter free by Brain Force and Alpha Power. All right, you want to be like me? You want to recognize that the vaccines are what's doing it to you? They're putting fluoride in the water. There's aspartame in every pack of gum you can buy at the supermarket. Buy non-GMO. Black helicopters are out to get you. The NSA is listening in right now. I can feel them. The NSA. Oh. Oh, imagine if my roommate was a minority and beat me up for my beliefs. I live with a black woman, Jimmy James, believe it or not. That's my preferred demographic for, the philandering there is beautiful black women with big asses and tattoos, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Los Angeles has to offer, baby. Ooh, whoa. I saw one today walking in a gray sweatsuit in Beverly Hills, and I got out of my car, I hit the fucking parking meter and went looking for her. She ducked into a goddamn store, and I was like, where was that honey bunny? Because, I taught myself how to do that in college, is just go up and approach a girl in public. And, people are so low testosterone today, girls are super surprised by that. Like, oh my God, you had the stones to come up and just talk to me? And I'm like, hey, what's up, baby? How you doing today? You look beautiful, And I, usually ask what they're doing that night. Oh, well, I'm doing, that's cool. That's cool. I'll probably be opening a bottle of wine later, something like that, And then, no, I think a coal burner is a chick that takes black dick, a white chick that takes black dick. I think there's a different term for a white dude that bangs black girls, but nice try. Yeah, I've been browsing the 4chan. I know what the fuck you're up to, T1337 dude. Yeah, I forgot the word too. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I was chasing after that ass in the Beverly Hills today, man. When you just see a girl that's so bad, like you just want to do it for the challenge, because a lot of guys will be intimidated by the super fine top shelf 10 girl. And for me, that's the most fun, bruh. I want to go up and start and get that conversation popping. Just, you never know. I've picked them up off the streets. I've gone from the street to the sheets in less than an hour before, bruh. Oh, it's a good fucking It's a good fucking feeling when you do that, man. Good fucking feeling. I had some big old fake titties in Oklahoma. I found her at a Hastings Book music video in the action movie aisle. And I chatted them big titties up, boy. I had them back in my apartment sipping on coffee and talking about yoga, and then I busted them titties out of the shirt, Got to work. What were we talking about before I got off on this goddamn deviant rant here? Jimmy James says, what do you like to talk to girls about when you meet them? Differences in race IQ. It's fucking hilarious. That should be a sketch, dude. The guy who can't quit talking about race and IQ. And it just ruins all his interactions, Well, what's your ethnicity? Oh, you're black and Asian. Oh, that should balance out the IQ thing. Blacks are usually around IQ 85, but the Asians are up around 110. So, I would assume you're probably in the 90 to 100 range. That's pretty good. How good are you at math? That's the one topic you don't want to bring up when you're trying to get some pussy. You don't want to go into the race and IQ statistics. Oh, dude. There's a Jewish chick that lives in my apartment complex though, because and you know she was hanging out here one time, and um, we got to talking about IQ a little bit, and she said, because she said she was Ashkenazi Jew, and what up, K Bam? Ain't a lot of talking, baby. Once it gets cooking, no. She said she was Ashkenazi Jew, and yeah, so that brought up the IQ thing. I was like, oh, Ashkenazi Jews are really on the highest end of the IQ spectrum. Because, you know, it's easier to talk about it if they're on the high end versus the low end. Like, you don't want to be talking to some Nigerian chick and be like, you know, your country's cooking at about 70 IQ. Are you the exception, or, you know, do you fall in line with that? But she said, this Jewish chick said she had a 156 IQ. And, you know, I went in to make out with her, and then she started making out back with me, and I was like, oh my God, I've been accepted by a genius. She approves of me, you know. But she was entirely too smart to go through with fucking me. So, you know, that's as far as we got. This guy's up to no good. He just wants to hit it and quit it. I can see in the future. All right, I have a deferral of gratification. Okay, I can put this off. Yeah, racial heredity diseases. Oh, you're black? Well, you know, you might want to be careful with the carbohydrates there. You might be susceptible to to diabetes. I wouldn't want to see your limbs being amputated there, dear. Looking out for your future self. Yeah, I'm still in my 20s, man. So, I mean, I don't mind a dumb chick as long as she's fun, you know, as long as she's got a sense of humor and is not easily offended. I got no problem with it, because I ain't looking to get, I'm not looking to have a family or kids until I'm like in my late 30s, early 40s. You know, I got to look for the right one. Especially with this goddamn family court system, the way it's set up here in America. It's a dangerous proposition, man. And good luck trying to negotiate a prenup with a chick. I mean, not the most sexy conversation in the world. Dirtweed's 47 years today. What's up, gangsta? Happy birthday, Dirtweed. Smoke a bowl from me, playa. Yeah, dude. 47, that's a good number, man. That's a strong number. You got a lot of life experience, bruh. Oh, yeah, if I could correlate race and IQ with having sex with a white man, it could work. You know our babies are going to be statistically, we're going to revert back to the mean, and, you know, it's going to have a higher percentage of passing their math tests in school. No, I'm keeping my kid out of public school. Fuck all of that, man. I'm not sending them into the fucking propaganda machine. No, no, no. I gotta find, that's why it's gonna take a while to find the right chick, because she's gotta be a smoking hot fucking 10. She's gotta have a big ass, and she's gotta not be easily offended. She's gotta have a good sense of humor. And she also has to have a desire to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom and teach my kids some shit while I'm, you know, out doing my comedy shit. Writing my screenplays. That's a complex woman, man. It's going to take a while to find her. But I'm willing to wait. Until then, I'm going to keep it wrapped up, ladies and gentlemen. We're not taking no chances. All right? Iranians have the highest average salary of all Muslim communities in America. Iranians are kind of badass, dude. Them Persians, don't fuck with a Persian, dude. They're the most free market of the Muslims, as far as I understand. Um, you know, unfortunately, they got that whole religious theocracy running their country, which is pretty troubling. But as far as the Iranian public, you know, they're on that Xerxes shit, dude. Talking all deep and long dicking bitches. You know, trying to take out the 300 crew with all their fake abs. That was some punk ass shit when it came out. The abs were CGI in the 300, bruh. They should have put me in that goddamn movie. I had the real abs rocking. You know? They're not as bulbous as the goddamn CGI abs, but it's goddamn, it's authentic. You know. No, I'm honestly trying to stay behind the camera on movies and shit. I'll be like a Tarantino type motherfucker who writes the screenplay and then writes a little cameo role in for me. Because I don't like acting, really. I don't like hanging around and waiting to do my part. And I took acting classes and shit. That was, okay, Bam wants me to prove the abs. Oh, shit. What's up, Satvir Singh? I am 28 years old, 28 years of age, from the Great Plains of Oklahoma. Right here, and I'm living in Hollywood now, so I made the trek out here in my goddamn hatchback car. Almost got lost in the Arizona Nature Reserve in the snow and shit. Almost ran out of gas. Fortunately, there was a gas station right in the middle of the trees and shit. Made it out here. And we're making it do what it do, baby. We're out here on the stages, you know, getting some chuckles and getting people riled up and shit, pressing buttons, doing what we gotta do, baby. We're building our own platform out in Hollywood. We're not waiting for people to give me permission to do shit. I'm just gonna build my own goddamn media empire and fuck the social controllers, fuck the gatekeepers, fuck all these Jews out here. Not all the Jews. Some of these, I've met a lot of beautiful Jewish people out here. But, you know, these leftist subverters out here, I ain't got no time for them, baby. I ain't got no time for you to approve of me. That ain't gonna happen, baby. All right? I'm gonna do my own thing and I'm gonna make it do what it do. Cali does not suck. It's got lots of big booty, beautiful women, which is, you know, half of the equation, and it's got lots of sunshine, baby. That's all I need to rock it. And then give me, you know, I'm gonna turn this whole city upside down, baby. I'm gonna make it, you know, I'm gonna have that red wave coming back. It's gonna be like before Reagan, bruh. We're gonna build that wall, and then I'm gonna get on the Staples Center stage and tell people what the fuck is up. All right, we're gonna turn that whole culture around, baby. Cultural revolution. It's gonna happen out here in Hollywood because this is goddamn too much of a beautiful state to lose. You know, we can't lose it to the communists and the weirdos and the third world morons. Fuck all them, man. We're gonna make it happen. All right, we're bringing Cali back. Going back to Cali before Reagan. Going back. We can't give up the beautiful mountains and the oceans and the palm trees, everybody. You know, I grew up on fucking Tupac music, man. That's California dreaming, all right? You know, ain't nothing wrong with California. It's just been infested with idiots. And, you know, we gonna turn this whole motherfucker around, baby. I don't think California will split up. I think that's a whole lot of smoke with no fire. Whole lot of smoke with no fire, ladies and gentlemen. Cal exit. That's about as real as the Hollywood celebrities saying they're going to move to Canada when Trump got elected. Not one of them did. You know. They didn't. You notice they didn't say they were going to move to Mexico with all of their beloved immigrants that are coming across the border. They didn't want to go live next to fucking El Chapo's gang. They want to go live with the nice white people up in Canada. All right, take your call, Burgess. Bad motherfucker. Dirtweed says, probably not freezing rain and 40-mile-an-hour wind. It sucks here currently. Where are you getting, Dirtweed? Yeah, weather is fucked up in a lot of the country right now. Didn't you say you were in Scotland or some shit? I might be totally misremembering shit. But yeah, it's gonna be cloudy all fucking week here in LA. I gotta, you know, if I'm gonna get some sun, I gotta get some fake fucking tanning booth sun. Oh, Canada, okay. Well, we got Satvir Singh speaking some damn Indian language here. Yeah, let's send Amy Schumer to Mexico. That fat, humorless cunt. Jesus Christ. Let's go up on stage and talk about her vagina for 40 minutes. Ugh. There's nothing worse than, like, I don't know what's worse, an actual hot chick talking about her pussy or like a fat, nasty chick talking about her pussy. It's like, either way, dudes just don't want to hear that shit, man. I mean, it's been a long time since I've heard, you know, a woman come up with an intelligent, you know, insightful social criticism in a comedy bit or whatever. Most of it is all about, you know, relationships and my vagina and people's relationship to my vagina and, you know, nothing against them. Go for it if you want, but, you know, you're probably not going to be very happy with the results. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I can't wait till I get a chance to tour the middle of the country and the East Coast and shit. I'd love to go to Boston, man. I feel like they'd feel me. You know, I got a lot of white anger, you know, pent up inside. And I feel like they'd feel it deep down. But yeah, a lot of the, you know, political correctness that's ruining comedy right now has been initiated by women. Or like man-like women, like, what's that, Nanette, what's her name? That bitch that did a whole comedy special about, you know, how bad it is to laugh at, you know, offensive jokes. Shut the fuck up, bitch. That's what brings people together. That's why we have such a divide in this country, is because nobody can joke about anybody else. It's all so sensitive, and people just think you hate them immediately when you start making fun of them. It's like, people don't have spines anymore. They don't have any balls. They don't have any fucking, you know, any self-respect. So any like, you know, affront to what they believe is like an attack, and it's like words are violence. And it's like, when did the truism that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? When did that leave our culture? Words are not violence. They're not going to hurt you. And, you know, you got to learn to deal with your own shit. Like, when I was growing up, like, you know, we would play pickup football all the time. And I remember distinctly the first time I got roasted in front of everybody. I dropped this pass. This Mexican dude named Victor, he was had just moved into town. He was playing all-time quarterback and shit. And he threw me a pass and I fucking dropped it. Dropped a touchdown. And we were talking shit after the game. And he called me Dickless Nicholas. And everybody fucking lost their shit and laughed, and I did not have a comeback for it, bruh. I was devastated. Dickless, I have a dick, I promise. You know, and I'm not going to pull out my dick and prove it to everybody. But, you know, I might as well have had a Ken doll flesh wall, okay, in that moment, because I didn't have any goddamn comeback. So I had to go home and stew on that moment and learn and come back and talk some shit to him, all right? You got to learn to deal with your failures, ladies and gentlemen. Words are not violence. You can recover from them easily. You just got to, you know, have a little experience. Yeah, dude. Pulled out that meat scepter. That would have been the trump card right there. But I think, you know, might have been a little excessive. But yeah, I mean, people are tired of the oversensitivity, and everybody complains about it. So, you know, there's a rebound coming. See, Kay Burgess says, we have some of our Islamic brothers here. I can make fun of them as individuals, but not the idea of Islam, things like that. Interesting. I would, you know, I think, you know, if you have a Muslim buddy, I mean, they should at least be able to laugh at some of the most ridiculous things in Islam. That's one of the things that bugs me about Islam is they have no sense of humor about their own religion. Like, you can mock Christians endlessly and they let it roll off their back. And they just like, nope, we have our faith and we're not changing for anybody. And like, meanwhile, they're getting mocked, you know, every night on late night TV and all the stand-up comics is like Christianity and religion is bullshit and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Christians just move on. They don't harass many people. There's the evangelicals that do harass people. They go to abortion clinics and shit, but that's a small percentage of them. But try making fun of Muhammad for being a pedophile and a warlord to your average Muslim person, and you're going to get some instant rage, which is unfortunate, you know, because it is so funny that they worship a pedophile. And, you know, people always make the equivocation with Christianity, but, you know, I'm pretty sure Jesus wasn't fucking kids. And at least if he did, they left it out of the holy book, all right? They at least edited that part out. And the priests were like, do you think we should keep in the story about, you know, Jesus having the sleepover with all the kids and turning their apple juice into wine? Should we leave that in, or? Like, no, edit that out, man. Edit that out. But, you know, the big difference between Christianity and Islam is that there's a separation of church and state with Christianity. So the religion isn't enforced by the sword or the gun of the state. And you're not going to get your arm chopped off or killed if you're an atheist or a gay person. Christians aren't going around advocating throwing gay people off of roofs in West Hollywood. But, you know, they get ridiculed as if they are, you know. Everybody, you know, feels real high and mighty when they make fun of the Christians because they know they're not going to get any legitimate blowback. They know there's not going to be a Christian suicide bomber that's going to come into their newspaper office and fucking blow them all up. So, you know, it's real easy to you know, make fun of Christians because you know you're not going to get any blowback because they're generally the nicest people on the fucking planet. Polmeister, you're right. Westboro Baptist Church is pretty fucking crazy, but they're still not going around trying to physically attack people from what I see. I mean, they have retarded views and they go around protesting shit, and it's really, you know, offensive, especially at you know, soldiers' funerals and whatnot, but they're not trying to commit large-scale acts of terrorism, you know. And, you know, they don't have a specific goal of a caliphate. They generally still try to convince people through the pen and the word and not the sword. The sword is the preferred tool of the Islamist there. Yeah, the Inquisitions, I've heard a lot about that. That wasn't a long time ago. You know, generally everybody was living in that barbaric style back then and shit, but truthfully, I don't know much about that. I haven't looked much into it. Once I became an atheist when I was like 12 or 13, I kind of checked out of the whole Christian doctrine there. I didn't research it much further. Once I had my arguments for atheism, I was like, I'm good. Burden of proof is on you, Christians. Prove it. Prove it! And they can't prove it. So that's been the decline of morality in the West. And, you know, unfortunately, the atheists don't have much of a moral replacement for Christianity. And so it just becomes like, you know, devolves down into nihilism and, you know, how much sucking and fucking and drugs can we do? And, you know, all of this shit. And it goes right into the left. The state becomes their new god for a lot of atheists, and they become big government leftists like Sam Harris, and they abandon any true universal moral principles because they throw out the baby with the bathwater because Jesus didn't walk on water. Jesus didn't walk on that bathwater, so we're throwing the baby out with it. All right? It's you know, It's troubling. We got to have objective moral principles, all right, to you know, have society operating in a functional way. I think, you know, it does do a disservice to free market principles and capitalist principles and libertarian thinking when these people make the leaps in logic to believe in Christian metaphysics. Like, I love the morals of Christianity and I have no problems with Christians in general. They're generally good people that lead moral lives and whatnot, but I think it does do a major disservice to the ideas of freedom when it's connected to those ideas of Christian metaphysics. And like, oh, you're just a Jesus freak if you believe in free market capitalism, because it's like it's lumped into this right wing set of ideas that you're a Jesus freak and that you believe in God and you don't have any proof for it, but you just believe it. And so, you know, the left, I feel like, kind of looks at the free market in the same way. There's Donald Trump again, the God Emperor. What's up? What's up, gangsta? But I think the left looks at the free market in the same way, that it's just kind of like this religious belief in the free market to be able to handle societal problems. And no, it's not. What it is the voluntary solution. If the government solution is coercion and there's a gun in the room and it's to your head and you have to enforce these ideas that we believe in, and that there's a distinct moral difference in that and free market capitalism, which is a voluntary interaction between two consenting adults in a contract or an exchange of goods and services. I mean, morally, it's totally the opposite. But the leftists don't have any morals because, you know, they're lost, nihilistic atheists, and they don't have any moral compass, so they don't see the difference between the two. We're opening up the claw, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking down the moral quandaries of today. I hope y'all having fun. MAGA horse, yes, we love having the president in here. You bad motherfucker, God Emperor. We hope you get that wall built. We hope you get your funding. All right. We hope you have your daily spray tan and everything goes perfect, sir. You know, give Melania some of that good presidential dick for me, sir. Godspeed. All right. All right. Cheers to you, Mr. President. Right there. Lime White Claw. Yeah, man. Like it if you like it. Share it out. You know, trying to get this thing bigger than Joe Rogan. We're trying to get bigger than the thumb, all right? I'm going to have the thumb under my thumb, dude. He's going to be begging to have me on. And I'm going to be like, maybe if you stop talking about your universal basic income horse shit. Oh yes, the libertarians, they're so sensitive. They're so selfish for wanting to keep their own money. How dare they want to make their own economic decisions? We should let Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez make all of our decisions for us because she's a 29-year-old ditz that's never read an economics book in her life. She's the one who knows. Bernie Sanders never had a job in his life. He combs his hair with a balloon. He should be making all of my economic decisions for me. I'd love to have Eddie Bravo on. You know, people call him a conspiracy theorist, but what does that make the mainstream media for the last 2 years with this whole Russia horse shit? I like Eddie Bravo, dude. That fucking spiked seltzer, baby. Yeah, you know, Hillary said, you know, it's a real good thing that a person like Donald Trump isn't in charge of the law in this country. And Donald Trump said, that's right, because you'd be in jail. Ooh. Best moment of the campaign right there, dude. It's right, because you'd be in jail. And that's the kind of wit that the left wing calls an idiot. All right, that was some championship level on the spot wit right there. Just decimated. DEFCON 5. That was like a Trump robot standing on top of the border wall, identifying the coyotes. Coyote identified. Coyote identified. Target lock. You're fired. 100% decimation. I'll take all the fake Trumps I can get, bruh. Donald Trump says, how do I keep the first lady from finding out about my second and third lady? Well, you just explain to her that you're the God Emperor and it takes multiple women to satisfy you, okay? Because you have a erupting volcano of dragon energy within your soul. And that's just what has to happen, all right? You got to have your Stormy Danielses and you got to have your Russian hookers. And, you know, you just plow in that field, dude. You plow in that field and you're winning and you're making the Democrats look stupid. That's your job. And, you know, sling that presidential dick, all right? And Melania is okay with it because she understands. She gets it. She gets it, you know. How can one woman satisfy the God Emperor? That's a lot to ask. Now, for Obama, it was different because, you know, he needed $20,000 worth of hot dogs delivered to the White House to satisfy his needs because, as you know, Michael Obama, often commonly known as Michelle, she would plow him into devastation on every night, you know, and she would tear that asshole up, but, you know, and she would also, you know, build up her triceps by bench pressing Obama, and by, you know, she would build up her lower body by deadlifting Obama. And, you know, that he can only be lifted and military press so many times by his wife. He really has to go out there and get the full sodomy experience by, you know, bussing in $20,000 worth of hot dogs to the White House there. And Obama's just insatiable for his desire for hot dogs. And Michael Obama has a 12-inch hog, but that wasn't enough for Obama. He's insatiable. All right. If Michael and Barack had their own porn, it would be called Insatiable. $20,000 worth of hot dogs would be the subtitle. And then he would have, you know, his boatload of twinks being shipped into the White House. Small, hairless Asian men who just go to town on Barack, dude. And that's what happened. And, you know, that's in American history now. When will who realize they're protesting their own prosperity? The left? Yeah. I don't know, man, because it's that ideology is born out of a true resentment of the successful and a hatred of yourself and a hatred of humanity fundamentally. And so, you know, you can only be so excited about people being successful. And like it's the hater versus like being happy for your friend's success dynamic. Like if you're happy for your friend's success, then it doesn't threaten your ego if your friend starts being successful. In the leftist mind state, you look at it as a zero-sum game and they got something that you didn't and they're taking your piece of the pie. And so it's a threat to your identity. But if you recognize your own capacities and your own competence to be able to succeed in a free market situation, then you celebrate other people's success. Because, you know, if you know people that are successful, that's only going to beget your own success. But the leftist resentful mindset, they don't see it like that. They see it like, oh, he's stealing something from me. It's mine. And you're never going to get ahead with that mind state. So, I feel like a lot of the millennials feel that way. Um, because they were raised by baby boomers who were the most selfish generation of all time, who just racked up this $20 trillion in debt for their own satisfaction in the moment and didn't give a fuck about any future generations, or didn't ask any fundamental questions about the nature of government or the nature of, going into debt as much as we did. They're just like, it's a roller coaster ride. We're just all in this ride together and we're just going to enjoy it while it lasts. And they had no principles because, they were influenced by the hippie generation, and it's just like, do whatever you want to do. And, they didn't quite buy into Christianity as much as the greatest generation did post World War II. And so, that was the generation that experienced the downfall of morality. And so nobody had any objective principles to object to the government and the expansion of government power there. And so it just became a free-for-all fuck fest, and everybody grab whatever they can grab and get for themselves and shit. And so it's a split now between the millennials who realized like the problems with that ideology, or they emulated it. It's like the two brothers that had an alcoholic dad, and one of them's like, well, I had an alcoholic family. It runs in my genetics, and I'm just going to drink to, continue the cycle. And the other brother's like, yeah, my dad was an alcoholic. He was a total asshole. I'm not touching a drop of alcohol. And it's funny because that's the story of Donald Trump. His brother was a drunk and he died early. And Donald Trump decided to not drink any alcohol because, it ran in his genetics to be a total fuck up alcoholic. But it's that fundamental choice and belief in free will to be able to make that choice and send your life in a new direction. And that's the split in the millennial generation right now, is some of them are just like, well, our parents were fucked up and dumb, and so I guess I'm just fucked up and dumb. And then they hate themselves and they hate humanity, and it's all nihilism and horseshit, and we need a big government to save us from all the evils of these people around us. And like the other half of the millennial generation was like, just looks at that and is like, sees how fucked up it is, and like, not that, anything but that. Buying into a system that, propagandizes me for 13 years in public school and then sends me into a dead-end job that I work my fingers to the bone for the next 60 years, and then there's no retirement fund at the end of it for me. And I got hoodwinked by the system and sent into this grinder to be ground up and fucking, used for the people in power. And I'm of the mind to not take part in that horseshit system and make my own way, baby. Some people are better off not drinking. I got those German genetics, baby, and I can handle it. I can come on here and spit some hot fire, spit some hot arguments, and I can, as Owen Benjamin says, I can land the plane at the end of the day. I go out and get my driving done, get my deliveries in, go to Eddie Murphy's house and miss my opportunity to make movie stardom, and then, do a comedy set and come home and talk to you wonderful people on the live stream and get a little soused. And that's okay because I'm in my house. It's okay to get soused when you're in your house, ladies and gentlemen, and talk some shit and speak some truth to the good people out there on the internet. I'm German and Dutch, baby. I can handle the booze. All right? Handle whatever you can give me, baby. I don't handle the weed that well. Yeah, I'm Dutch. That's, I'm 6'2", pushing 6'3", baby. We got the tallest people in the world, We got a lot of kickboxing and a lot of weed smoking going on in the Dutch community. And that's why I have a naturally good kickboxing stance. I put my chin to my chest. I get my dukes up. I throw straight punches, all right? And I put my ass in my punches. I turn my hips, all right? And I get the power into it. And I pull that shit back and I protect, for the hooks that are coming, and I bob and I weave, and I know how to fight, even though I've never been in an actual fight. It's all theoretical martial arts knowledge, but goddamn it, I think it's going to pay off someday. When somebody gets triggered in my audience and tries to attack me, I'm going to be ready, dude. I'm going to come into that Dutch kickboxer stance. I'm going to hit them with the 1-2 and finish it off with a leg kick, and they're going to be done, dude. Boss Rutan style, all right? I've seen the Boss Rutan self-defense system on YouTube, and goddamn it, I was inspired, dude. You know, when somebody's sitting cross-legged, you know, they got one leg over the other, and their foot's hanging there. Boss said, you know, and they're talking shit to you, you go up and you grab that toe, and you turn it down, dude, and you snap their leg all apart. And he's not talking anymore. Boss Rutan has broken your leg. And it's okay, because you know not what to do next time. Well, I don't want no piece of a sparring match, K. Burgess. El Guapo, yeah, Scuba Steve, you get it. Yeah, dude, El Guapo is the baddest motherfucker of all time. K. Burgess, I would not like to spar you, dude. I don't want any CTE, you know. I don't want any head trauma. We got to keep these brain cells intact to take on the establishment, all right, and take down the cultural Marxist subverters, all right? We got to keep the brain cells intact, everybody. I've limited my exposure to head trauma. I did not play football. I played basketball instead, and I think I still got a concussion. That's why my nose is crooked, because, you know, I caught an outlet pass on trying to go down on a fast break one time playing a basketball game, and I turned around and ran straight into a defender, and my nose went, and so that's why I got this crooked schnoz here. And I did play pee-wee football, and I did get knocked the fuck out one time. I was on kickoff coverage. Our team was kicking off. And so I was on the left side of the field, and I was just like, it was the first time I had been on kickoff coverage. So we kicked the ball, and I'm kind of like looking back, like watching the kicker kick the ball as I'm running. And I turn around, and it's the same shit that happened in basketball, not looking where the fuck I'm going. And I turned around, and there was this giant fucking lineman standing there. And he lit me the fuck up, dude. Everything went black. And I hit the fucking ground, and I woke up, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I think there's 3 occasions where I may have gotten concussions. There was those 2 in sports, and then I got, you probably can't see it right now, but I got like this scar on my chin. That was from riding bikes with my homeboy Trey Cloud back in my hometown, Ponca City, Oklahoma. Bad motherfucker, shout out to Trey Cloud. And we were riding bikes, and we had this ditch behind our house, and it was grass on the sides and concrete at the bottom. So it was this lip where the grass ended and the concrete started. And he cruised right over that lip. He was right in front of me. We're on our bikes going downhill, and I didn't see the lip. I saw it at the last second. I hit that fucking concrete lip, dude. My tire hit it, and I went over my fucking handlebars, had no time to react, just chin first on the fucking concrete. My chin was hanging open and shit. Creeped the fuck out of my mother. My dad was super just, you know, badass about it. He was like, all right, let me get a look at it, okay? I can see your bone, all right? We got to go to the ER, you know. But I walked in there, I feel like that's the first time I became a comic, because it was such a fucked up situation, but we came in there laughing because my whole shirt was covered in blood, and I was like, Mom, I murdered somebody. I don't know what to do. You know, I was making jokes and shit. I was all delirious after I fucking slammed my chin on the concrete, dude. But, you know, trying to keep the CTE to a minimum. I feel like I got just enough head trauma to be funny with my intelligence. So, you know, that's how you end up doing stand-up comedy, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get a few whacks to the noggin. And you got to, you know, be crazy enough to go live on the internet for 2 hours every night talking shit. Holy shit, yeah, Stephen Thompson versus Israel Adesanya. That is the fight to make, dude. Either that or Darren Till. I'd like to see Darren Till versus Stylebender as well. That'd be some high level striking, baby. That'd be fucking legit. I didn't see the Stylebender versus Anderson Silva fight. I saw it went to decision and shit, but you know, it's a shame Robert Whitaker got injured with the fucking the hernia situation there. Simply A, he's Australian. He's probably a Robert Whitaker fan right there. Is Adesanya Australian as well? Anderson Silva was still on his game though. He's got that old, black don't crack Brazilian shit going on. Oh, he's New Zealand Stylebender. Yeah, Mark Hunt that's that New Zealand tank, bruh. Coming with that left hook. I still remember when he knocked out Stefan Struve, that 7-foot gangly weird motherfucker. He hit him with that left hook, dude. Bop! 5'10" versus 7 foot, dude. Mark Hunt put that motherfucker to sleep. Can you imagine getting hit with a left hook from Mark Hunt? Oh, God. You just see the thickness of that motherfucker's arms, dude. So fucking hefty. Dangerous. I'm looking forward. Apparently, they're making the Cowboy Cerrone versus Conor McGregor fight. I want to see that shit because, that'll lead up to the next whoever's going to fight Tony Ferguson. I don't think anybody's beating Khabib, though, which is the trouble. I mean, Khabib's just got that wrestling and sambo shit just so on point that it's like, who the fuck is going to beat that guy? I want to see McGregor. Yeah, I think McGregor beats Cowboy because, it's going to be a stand-up battle. And McGregor, if he gets back to his normal shit where he's got his distance control and he's counter-punching and he gets him lulled in, and I feel like he can definitely get under Cowboy's skin with the shit-talking and whatnot. I favor McGregor in that matchup, but Cowboy does use his kicks very, very well. And McGregor hasn't fought a lot of guys that have really good kicks. And Cowboy has some really good kicks. I mean, especially if he gets McGregor in later rounds. McGregor gets gassed easy. And so he might catch McGregor with his hands low. And, if he can, mix up the jab and straight punches with those round kicks, he might clock him. McGregor's got to win a fight, though. I mean, the last two fights we've seen him get, embarrassed by Floyd Mayweather and embarrassed by Khabib. So he's got to win a fight. His back is against the wall. So I put my money on Conor in that fight. Cowboy has nothing to lose really. Because if he wins, he's getting a title shot. But he's not going to beat Khabib either. That's the thing. I don't know if they're doing it at 155 or 170. I think they might be doing it at 155. Because, Conor going up to 170 to fight Nate Diaz was kind of a joke. Yeah, Khabib is a scary motherfucker, dude. Hey, sometimes you got to get into the MMA talk, Paul Meister. That's the main sport I watch, because it's so primal, I'm a high testosterone motherfucker. I like watching men do battle. All right. This is the fall of the Roman Empire we're living through right now. I hope you realize that the Federal Reserve is in control. We're debasing the currency, and so now, oh shit, the camera went down, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm talking about the fall of the Roman Empire, the camera goes down. That's hilarious. But, you know, it's fitting that, you know, the Colosseum and whatnot, as you know, we used to watch gladiators try to fight tigers and shit. Now we're watching men, you know, fight until submission or knockout. And so it's only fitting that that would be the most popular sport in the fall of the Roman Empire, the new Roman Empire. I'm just trying to get my hands on some of these Jew shekels and invest it before the economy collapses. You know, get in where you fit in, baby. Oh, I would never fight, dude. Never fight. It's like, it's a fun thought experiment for me just to be able to defend myself. And if I get some money, I might take some jiu-jitsu classes. If I can afford some health insurance and shit, and afford a monthly jiu-jitsu subscription or whatever it is, membership, if I can join a gym, get out here in one of these 10th planet gyms, I might do that. But anything with head trauma, I'm not fucking around with that. I don't want to fuck around. That's not for me. I've had enough. Got to keep the brain sharp, baby. You say one fight, but man, you can get knocked the fuck out in one fight. You know, and the way I look at it, if you're not willing to commit your entire life to it and convinced you can be a champion, you shouldn't be doing it. And headgear won't protect you because it's not the direct impact that fucks with you. It's the rattling of your brain. It's the getting popped and the rattling of your brain inside your skull is what causes CTE. So you can even, like Rogan's talked about this before, you can get hit in the chest, and if it jolts your brain around in your head, that can give you CTE. It's not just about like direct strikes to the head. That's why hitting people on the chin knocks you out. It's not like a nerve running down your jawline. It's the whipping of your head. If you get hit right there, it's the displacing of your jaw and the whipping of your head, and it shakes your brain around, and that's why you get brain damage. So, you know, we're trying to keep this brain rattle-proof, all right? I got to fight for Western civilization, ladies and gentlemen. You know. Oh, shit. AJ got 4 staples in the head for hitting it on a forklift. Why are you headbutting forklifts, bruh? That's no good. You know, trying to prove to everybody you're tough and shit. You know, you're not going to win that battle. The forklift is undefeated. Oh, shit. Paul Daly versus MVP. That's going to be... Michael Venom Page is a bad motherfucker. I would not bet against him. Paul Daly is bad with his hands, but Michael Venom Page got that karate style. He's got the distance control, and he's got that supreme confidence. And he hasn't really been dominated like Paul Daly has. Like, you look at Paul Daly's history, he's a dangerous motherfucker with his hands. He's a really good boxer. But he has been knocked the fuck out. He has been outclassed. Like, you watch that fight with Nick Diaz and Paul Daly. Nick Diaz fucking went at him like a savage, dude. And he put Paul Daly away. He had him on Queer Street, dude, just shaking and falling down everywhere and shit. So I like MVP. Lomachenko, I've never seen him fight live. I've only seen his highlights and shit. Everybody says he's the best boxer. I like the heavyweight division in boxing right now. You know, I want to see that Gypsy King and Deontay Wilder go at it again, and then I want to see what's his name, the British guy. What's Anthony John? Not Anthony Johnson. That's an MMA fighter. What the fuck is his name? Anthony Joshua. That's what it is. See, Anthony Joshua's waiting in the wings, ladies and gentlemen, for the winner of that fight. Heavyweight division is good again in boxing. AJ said I was pulling myself up on the forklift and I split my head open. Metal cage is what I hit it on. Damn. Yeah, martial arts is good for the mentality of a man just because it's about discipline and about self-defense and whatnot and being confident in yourself and confident in your skills. That's why I would want to take a jiu-jitsu class because, you know, if you get a little light wrestling and jiu-jitsu, that's all you need to fucking dominate a street fight if anybody comes at you on some bullshit. You know, fuck, you know, trying to get good at boxing because to get actually good at boxing, you're going to have to take some shots to the head, and that's, like, not worth it to me. I'd rather, you know, pull a ligament or a joint or whatever every now and then in jiu-jitsu and still be able to strangle a motherfucker out on the street if I need to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's going on 2 in the morning here. I'm out of booze. It's been fun as hell talking to you, you bad motherfuckers out there. I'm glad you all are having fun with the stream and shit. Like it if you like it, share it out. At Nick Jordan himself on Instagram, I'll be sharing clips out. At I am Nick Jordan on Twitter. Let's get the numbers up. Let's get this stream spread out. And we're trying to, you know, have a truth-based revolution out here in Hollywood, and you know, have them coming to me, asking me to do fucking movie deals and fucking stand-up shows and all of this bullshit. We're not going through the traditional channels. Scuba Steve, I try to stream every night after I get home from the comedy clubs. Can't guarantee it's going to be every single night, but I can guarantee I try to stream every single night. So you can expect it every night. I'll let y'all know if I'm not going live. But I appreciate everybody coming in here and hanging out and having fun and shit. It's the highlight of my day, coming out and hanging out with you bad motherfuckers and talking this real shit. You can find the full audio of the podcast on any of the podcast apps. Look up Outrage Cast, all one word. And yeah, baby, we rocking it out here with our cocks out on the Outrage Cast. Speaking truth to power, calling spades spades, and calling trannies fucking weird, ladies and gentlemen. That's we're not pulling no punches, and we're not chopping our cocks off, everybody. That's my credo. Never chop that cock off. Be proud of your cock, and you know, have friends that are proud of their cocks and proud of their skin color and whatever, you know, they're blessed with, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, dude. Entourage song cue. Oh shit, we're gonna get it started. I'm gonna go back to Eddie Murphy's house and you know, knock down his door and be like, I forgot to tell you about my script. Oh, dude. It's a fun ride out here, ladies and gentlemen. Glad you're along with me for it. And I bid you a beautiful farewell for the rest of the night. Hope you get some nice restful sleep and go and kick some ass tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see y'all later on the Outrage Cast here. This is your Chancellor, Federal Outrage Chancellor.